Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can now build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Sunday, January 16th at midnight, you can save 15% off your Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT15 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, John Ryan, Joseph D'Amico, and Rocketman. The combinations are endless, and you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make your dream lineup? Just go to WagerTalk or Sports Memo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand select your handicapping roster. Don't forget, coupon code PYT15 will expire January 16th, so make sure to get your 15% discount.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. This guy right here, me, Lawrence Presman, that guy, Teddy Covers. And Teddy, you know why I love that promotion so much, the Pick Your Team promotion? Because I wanted to pick my team. I wanted to pick the greatest handicapping team ever assembled. And you know what I did?
What'd you do, Lawrence?
I started WagerTalk.com, and I picked my team. And I've put together, with the help, the assistance, the guidance of Marco, Rick, Johnny, and the rest, the greatest handicapping team ever assembled. And now the listeners can do the same. We are gifting them what we were able to do in the first place. A lot of nachas, Teddy. How are you, my brother?
I'm okay, Lawrence. No better than okay this morning. I had a pretty frustrating night last night. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But nonetheless, the Pick Your Team promo, certainly a good promo, Prez, but you did all of this all by yourself?
No, I did all. No. See, I am a incredible leader. I lead. I don't do.
You led the team.
I do nothing.
Team.
Yes. I picked the team that picked the team.
All right, well
but
done.
At one point, the buck stopped near me. Now it's so far away. Oh, my Lord. I haven't even seen the buck in a while. Anyway, Rob Veno joining us today, right off the top of the show. He's going to look at San Antonio and Philadelphia. He's going to look at the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game. I know you've got some thoughts on that. Your big game breakdown, Adam Trigger, some Georgia-Bama game. He's going to look at the Bills-Jets game, and then Andy Lang, of course, with his prop bets. Anyway, let's hear why you, my brother, are so frustrated.
So I don't know why it makes me so crazy when you don't give the sports. Of course, we're talking Spurs, Sixers in the NBA, Colts, Jazz.
Yeah, Spurs and Sixers are in a whole lot of other sports. Yeah, Georgia, Alabama, they're playing in the NFL this Sunday. Yeah.
It's one of those deals where if you're going to give a game, tell the sports so people can put it in the right category in the right time. That's my pet peeve, but I know our viewing audience agrees with me. When it came to what I learned last night, look, we got to talk about the Boston Celtics for a minute because this was a statement game for the Celtics last night. They're playing for the 10 seed in the East against the Knicks, two teams with the same record. Yes, Boston on the second night of back-to-back, so they're coming off a blown game against San Antonio, against a team that they care about beating, and they're up by 20 points. Second quarter, third quarter. And then what happened? Well, the Knicks wanted it more. 47-24 Knicks closeout. And when you look at the Eastern Conference right now, you have the Bucks, you have the Nets, you have the Heat, you have the Sixers. They're all clearly ahead of Boston in the Eastern Conference pantheon. You have the Cavs and the Bulls, the two upstart teams from this year, who right now are power rated well ahead of the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are sitting with the Raptors, the Hornets, the Wizards, the Knicks, the Hawks, hopefully we can get a playoff spot team, not a we're going to go for the Eastern Conference Finals kind of team where the Celtics have been in recent years. And you look at their roster, Tatum signed through 2026, Smart signed through 2026, Brown signed through 2024. It's not like they've got a bunch of moves they can make right here. New executive, Brad Stevens. He's got some work to do with his Celtics team. What about you, Prez? What did you learn last night? He's muted.
Oh, sorry.
He keeps talking.
Teddy,
Yeah.
Teddy, I'm super confused. You listed a whole bunch of teams. What sport were you talking about?
The Boston Celtics are in the NBA, Lawrence.
Oh, they are. Okay. Next time, it's a pet peeve of mine. If you can just tell us, the sport that you're going to be talking about. Like in your big game breakdown today, what teams are you doing?
So when you give the team name, I started doing, the Boston Celtics. When you say Philadelphia is playing whoever, you don't know what sport. So no,
right.
It wasn't a situation where people would have been confused.
Why do you answer me? Why do you oh my, are you seriously? Did you get a haircut? Because it doesn't look like you got much of a haircut.
I did, dude. I don't get much of a haircut. I take off the sides, take off a little bit off the top. Looks great.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So just remember in your big game breakdown to let us know what sport you're talking about. Okay.
I will.
Okay. Thank you, dude. Lots of love. Rob Veno joining us. Rob, before we get into Rob, so let's not put him on right this second. I just got to tell Teddy, we had a bunch of people take advantage of Brandon's big time offer yesterday. Guys, thank you. And you will be thanking us at the end of this year. In all seriousness, it was an amazing offer, and we had so much love for it. It is available for 24 more hours. So, guys, Brandon, Tokyo Brandon, #1 handicapper at the website. All of last year from start to finish, and already this year, you can get $1,100 off of his season package with the promo code WOW899. And we really did. I'm not messing around. We really did have an incredible response to that promo.
Yeah, I mean, that's $75 a month. All right. We talk about $899 for a full year. So it's $75 a month for a guy who finished #1 in profits. And it's certainly off to a good start already this year.
Yeah.
Well done. Take advantage.
Okay, Robert. How are you, Mr. Veno?
I am good, Prez. How are you guys today?
Fighting.
I'm personally better. I don't have to put up with him tomorrow. And when you say today, Rob, are you referring to Friday? Could you please be specific?
Yes, it is Friday where I am on the East Coast. Eastern time zone, Friday.
Okay, good.
Check.
Teddy, he asked how you were. Do you want to tell him? Because I already asked and you said you were slightly miserable.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, he asked how you were. Yeah, he asked how you were.
I'm doing okay, Rob. Thank you for asking. Let's talk some sports.
Rob Veno, let's start right off the... Okay, go ahead.
Rob and I will
Teddy.
get a chance to talk on Cover It with Teddy Covers on SiriusXM this week. Rob will be breaking down Week 18 NFL slate with me. You can check that out on SiriusXM channel 159, the Sports Grid Radio Network, or check out the podcast version. Just go to my Twitter page at Teddy_Covers, and you'll get the podcast version of
Sebastian Anthony
show.
Keeps writing, don't interrupt Rob, don't interrupt Rob. Clearly, these people do not understand my personality. Like, now I literally have to interrupt Rob. So, Rob, expect interruptions. San Antonio, Philadelphia, that's in the NBA. How, my friend, are you handicapping this game?
I am going to look at the Sixers, guys.
Okay, we're good. Teddy, what do you think of Rob?
So, I want to ask you with your play on Philadelphia. I'm just kidding. No,
and we wonder why.
I'll tell you that at the end.
We wonder why I get screamed at 12-19 every single week for talking too much. So I like Philadelphia in this game, guys. When I sent it overnight, the line was 5.5. It's been bumped all the way to 7.5. Few things here for the Spurs. 5th road game of a 7-game road trip. A little bit weary at this point in time. 3rd in their last 4 nights. But what's worse is right now this team is stuck in the middle of their COVID outbreak. And they're on the road, like I say, 5th game, 3rd in 4 nights. Pretty tough for them tonight. They'll be without 3 starters. 2 of them are new to the COVID list. The 3 guys missing: shooting guard Derek White, power forward Keldon Johnson, small forward Doug McDermott's been out for a while. If Lonnie Walker is able to return, he's coming off health and safety protocols. We'll see if his conditioning is up to par here. If he's able to play, guys, they'll have 7 players in the rotation that get 12 minutes or more. It's not a deep bench tonight. If Walker can't go, they'll only have 6. The paint matchup in this game, for those of you betting props, and I know Andy's coming on, but boy, oh boy, whatever Joel Embiid is, you probably just play over. His matchup here, one of 3 guys: Jacob Poeltl to start the game, Jock Landale, Drew Eubanks. 3 guys that if he faces off against them at any point during 48 minutes, he should destroy. Andre Drummond, the backup center, should have his way as well. It's an extreme mismatch offensively for Philly at the rim. Rebounding, rim protection, strongly favor Philadelphia in this game. The recent form of these two also favors the Sixers. Philadelphia 3-0 in their last 3 games, averaging almost 120 a game against weak competition, especially defensively. But San Antonio is a weak defensive team as well. The Spurs, on the other hand, 1-3 in the first 4 of this road trip against the spread. They've given up 129, 117, 118 in those 3 games. Philly shooting the 3 ball terrifically, 41% or better in 3 of their last 4. That's almost a better percentage from 3 than San Antonio has shot from the field in 3 of their last 4. They're only 43% or worse. Good shooting matchup for Philly here. My concern with this game, if there is one, is the Philly point guard situation. You're without Tyrese Maxey. You're without Shake Milton. They were in this spot Wednesday night, same thing. They had to give the ball and put extra burden on Seth Curry, who became the point guard. And Curry came through. 12 assists, 4 turnovers, 7 rebounds, 20 points, 4 threes. So he covered the whole stat sheet. It's up to 7.5 now, still like Philly. Give me the Sixers minus the points.
So one of the things I like to do, Rob, is find that guy, that one guy or that 1 or 2 guys for every team that are difference makers on the floor, but the betting markets don't necessarily adjust when they're in or out of the lineup. And that guy for San Antonio is DeJounte Murray. You know, when Murray was out of the lineup, during crunch time, they really struggled. With Murray back, lo and behold, during crunch time, what did they do? They outplayed the Celtics and ended up winning the game in straight-up fashion. So with Murray back in the lineup, and the betting markets basically yawned. They yawned when he was out. They yawned when he came back. In my mind, he's an impact player. Given Murray's return and given the 76ers' consistent struggles this year, both straight up and against the spread at home, they've been much better on the highway than they have in Philadelphia. Does that temper your enthusiasm for the Sixers at all in this matchup?
2 things with Murray's return. A, now you're taking Derek White and Keldon Johnson away from him in the starting lineup. They both played the other night. It's a tough break for Murray. They can't seem to get this whole team healthy right now because of the COVID outbreak. 2, in fairness to the Celtics, Jaylen Brown has a steal and a breakaway layup right to the rim as time expires and misses the point-blank layup. Otherwise, that game goes overtime, and we don't know if San Antonio outplays Boston. So I heard you harp on Boston earlier. I think that Philly's probably the right side here.
Rob, it took me about 24 hours to get over that missed layup. I was on the over in that game. Thanks for bringing it up, bro. I mean, obviously, I wasn't.
So it hurts. It pains me as well.
Oh, yes.
It was the only shot we had, Prez. It was the only shot we had. We were praying for overtime.
Oh, you had the over too. Yeah.
I did.
And you know, that first quarter, it was like the first 9 minutes of that game. I'm like, this is looking good. And then anyway, it was as if the Prez interrupted them. That's how bad it was. Rob, NFL, man, I want to talk to you about the whole damn card, but alas, I might sneak a question in on some other games. But Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Listen, I did the presidential address. It's up, guys. The NFL presidential up for all of you guys to see. It's the last one of the season. And inside of that, I talked about what an ending it would be to a terrible year for Jacksonville to actually win this game. But it ain't going to happen. Plus, they would lose that first-round draft pick. How do we handicap this one?
Well, it's a little tricky, like some of these Week 18s are. I mean, we could start with the basics, the playoff scenario for the Colts. Destiny's in their own hands, winning they're in. You look at their effort last week, and you have to assume there's a good bounce back, right? A bounce back from that home loss to the Raiders. I chose to play this game first half, guys. Last night, 8.5. Today, up to 9.5. But I chose to play first half for a couple of reasons. I'll just start with Indianapolis's performance as a first half team. 12-1 against the spread last 13 weeks first half. They were 12-0 until the Raider game last week. That snapped the 12 consecutive game streak. 6 of their last 8 first halves, they've led by 10 or more, which is more than what we're asked to lay here. The first time they played Jacksonville 8 weeks ago, they led this game 20-9 at halftime, led by 11. I think they can do much the same here, if not better. If I just flip it, Jacksonville's first half performances, brutal. 1-11 against the spread, almost the exact opposite. Their last 12 games, they're 0-8. They're on an 0-8 first half against the spread run their last 8 games. 9 of those 11 losses by more than 8.5 points, 8 of them by double digits. So we got a really, really strong first half team and a horrendous one. Week 18, I chose to play first half just because I don't want to lay big double digits in a game where if Indianapolis is ahead 24-7, something in that vicinity, 31-10, pick your choice, fourth quarter, and they've got the game wrapped and they yank everybody because next week's a playoff game and Jacksonville gets the meaningless touchdown at the end. You don't want to be in that situation. I like Jonathan Taylor's quote, "We have to come out fast and hit them early." I guess if you're with Jacksonville, you could cling to this deal where they've beaten Indianapolis at home every game since 2014. But Frank Reich had a huge discussion about that with his team this week. I think they straighten it out. I'm not a guy that gets into that type of stuff. I think the Week 18 spot in the scenario forced me to play first half here. I think the Colts' first half results speak for themselves, Jacksonville's as well. Give me the Colts minus the 9.5, but it's on the rise. I don't know that you want to go too much farther than this. 9.5 is about the limit here.
So this is your classic must-win game where you're laying a little bit of a premium to back a Colts team that has to beat the Jaguars to make the postseason. Do you worry about the premium price that you're laying with an Indy team, despite the fact that the Jags have given them all kinds of problems? They gave them problems. I know they led by margin in the first meeting at halftime, but the Jags were in that game the whole way. Does that concern you at all in this one?
Yeah, Teddy, if they were coming in here and I felt like this was a team coasting into this game, I might fear it. But I just feel like there's motivation behind the Colts. The weak performance last week, the fact that they haven't won since 2014, there's motivational aspects that can get this team to play. And the first 2 drives of that initial game when they played Jacksonville, I mean, they went right down the field as if Jacksonville's defense wasn't even there. And that's kind of what we've seen out of Jacksonville's defense the last few weeks. It's almost as if they've quit on the season. We don't ever want to think that about professional athletes, but they just don't have any type of defensive effort at this point in time. So give me the Colts first half.
Robert Veno, I love the first half style bets in this situation in Week 18. Rob, one word: Miami +6 versus New England.
New England. That's 2 words. Patriots. 1 word.
Pittsburgh +5.
Pittsburgh.
San Fran +4.5.
Rams.
And the Chargers Vegas game. What do you like?
Man, if I don't say Chargers, Ski will murder me. Chargers.
You did that to save yourself from ski?
Have to do a show with them in 40 minutes.
Well said. Rob Veno, everyone. What do you got to promote, bro?
I want to promote a 5% college football national championship play up and available right now at WagerTalk.com. If you want to get in early, you can do so. It's been up since last night. No change in my mind on this one. Like this one really strong, obviously, by the 5% indicator. So once again, WagerTalk.com, 5% CFB national championship release up and available right now.
Awesome stuff. Rob Veno, everyone. And we got a big show still to come. We got Adam Trigger. We got Andy Lang. We got Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. My daily presidential address. But before we get into any of that, huge alert. Teddy Covers has a 5% play up tonight in the NBA. And guys, I'm telling you, this dude might annoy the crap out of me. And he does on a daily basis. Trust me on that. 100% this year in his NBA 5% plays. 78% 5% run over I don't know what period of time because he didn't tell me that part. But anyway, Teddy, you got to be, dude, let's just talk for 1 sec because I go through it too. I got 5% plays. It's a fun feeling. It's like there's anxiety, though, that goes with it. You're excited. You know you're on the right play. You're feeling it all. There is this anticipation and excitement, but it does come with a shit ton of anxiety. Do you feel that going into these games, or are you pretty calm?
I don't know, Prez. It's not a scenario where, every once in a while, a 5% player, you're like, oh, wow, I sold a bunch of these. But it's a big bet that stands out like a sore thumb on the betting card tonight, and that's when it goes up. So am I nervous?
I lose my mind.
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. Sometimes during the game, I get a little freaky, but at this stage, I think it's a winner.
Yeah. There you go, everyone. Take advantage of that 5% NBA play from Teddy Covers. He's 100% this year in those plays. We're going to take a quick break. We're right back with Adam Trigger, Andy Lang, and, of course, that guy.
What's new in the NFL this season? First ever NFL Week 18 regular season games. NFL playoffs with 6 wildcard games, including a Monday night wildcard game. And WagerTalk and Sports Memo handicappers lowering the price for the NFL playoffs. Last season, the NFL playoff pass was priced at $149. But this year, not only have we lowered the NFL playoff price to $119, but included NFL Week 18 for free. That's right, for $119, you get the final week of the regular season, plus the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl on February 13, 2022, including any 5% best bets. No coupon code is needed. Just go to your favorite handicappers page at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and choose the NFL playoff pass in the football dropdown. And don't forget, if you buy before this weekend, get the remainder of the NFL regular season included for free.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little NFL for Saturday. This is the early game tomorrow. The Broncos and the Chiefs, 4:30 Eastern time, 1:30 here on the left coast in NFL action for Sunday. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing Kansas City -11, -11.5. It's more -11s right now. A total of 45 for this one. I'm not a guy that says they're going to kill him very often. That's not the thought process that goes through my mind. And yet, this game sure looks to me like the Chiefs are going to kill him. The Broncos offense has not worked in any recent meeting against Kansas City. Last 5 meetings, Denver scored 9, 16, 16, 3, and 6. That's an average of 10 points a game over a 3-year span against Kansas City. KC has covered -7, -8.5, and -10 during that span, 4-1 against the spread versus Denver. So that's Denver with a decent offense against KC. And, of course, the Broncos offense down the stretch this year, they've scored 9, 10, 13, and 13 for their last 5 games. The only exception came against the Lions the same Lions team that just gave up a 50 burger to Seattle last week. So Broncos offense hasn't worked against KC. It hasn't worked down the stretch this season. No Bridgewater again this week. It's going to be Drew Lock. That's a problem. The other side of the football may be just as bad. It's a quarterback nightmare for Denver this week. Ronald Darby's out. Pat Surtain is out. Kareem Jackson is out. They have a COVID outbreak. Their offensive line is decimated. No Jerry Jeudy. No Bradley Chubb. McManus, the kicker, is on the COVID list right now. This could be Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur's last game. Fangio is the defense, Shurmur for the offense. And from all indications, they're not busting ass for either one of those guys, the veterans on Denver. Did I mention the Chiefs are coming off a loss? They had a Week 16 loss in 2018. I look specifically at Week 16 losses for Kansas City under Andy Reid. Then what do they do in the season finale? Happened 3 times. They lost in 2018. They won the finale 35-3. Happened in 2016. They won the finale 33-10. In 2014, they weren't even a playoff team. They lost Week 16. They won the finale 19-7. Reid doesn't want back-to-back losses going in. And the Chiefs, because they're playing on Saturday, will go into this game live for the number 1 seed. Off, and the week off and the bye week. That's a motivator. The Titans haven't played yet. So this line can only go up. I'm surprised we've seen some buyback on Denver this morning. I thought it was only, on a rocket ship to 13.5, 14. It's 11 right now. It ain't going much lower. Don't wait to get on board for this one. Kansas City minus the spot against Denver. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
That was your best big game breakdown ever. Period. It was awesome. You killed it. You nailed it. With that said, Teddy, I got to ask you a question.
Go.
I broke this game down on the NFL presidential address, nowhere near as good as you just did. I really like the first half bet with Kansas City at -6.5. I feel like if they're up by 16, 17 points, going into the fourth, that might be where they pull their guys. Do you prefer the full game at 11?
So I wouldn't argue with either. I wouldn't argue with a split wager between half and full game, but
that's good.
If Denver is down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter, I don't see the Broncos marching down the field to come in the back door. Not Week 18 with a lame duck head coach and a bad quarterback and a team that's riddled with injuries and COVID. Don't see it. So that's why I chose full game over first half, because I don't know the Broncos have that punch in them this week.
Yeah. No, listen, dude, your breakdown was spectacular. Guys, real quick, I just want to say before we bring Adam Trigger in, my NFL presidential address is up, and it's the last one of the season, and I just want to point out, my record in this NFL presidential address, because it's really been something special. This has been just such an outstanding fun year for me. Across the board, Teddy, 250 plays, give or take. I went 57%. Going down every single game. I passed a lot along the way, but I mean, out of all those games, 57%. I give out 3 best bets at the end of each show. I went 66% in those. So make sure to check out the last NFL presidential address. It's up at our YouTube channel. And also, guys, there's an incredible promo right at the top of the show for you guys. If you want to play the rest of my NFL season. Adam Trigger, I want to be your age. Yeah. The only thing money can't buy, Teddy. Freaking youth.
There's lots of things money can't buy, dude. Money can't buy love.
Give me another
money
one.
Can't buy happiness.
Money can buy love. Of course, money can buy love. My children love me, and I shower them with money.
A and B are not related.
Oh, so it's not a syllogism? Is that a good word? Syllogism? You don't get to use that very often in a sentence.
Yeah, and you're
still
going under the assumption that your children actually love you, which is,
That's a very valid point. Very, very valid point. Okay, Ad, let's go, baby. The big game, Georgia, Bama. How are you handicapped? I mean, I know because You've pretty much told Twitter every day for the last month, but regale us.
Yeah, I mean, so Alabama, Georgia, I'll start. I gave out Georgia 8-1 to win it all. Even if you didn't get 8-1, like 6-1, 5-1 on the first episode of our Hustle show. But I want to just like address that because I didn't, at the time, I didn't give it out thinking that I would even be on Georgia in this spot or they would get to this spot. I looked at it and said, okay, they have a good path to the college football playoff where I potentially get there with Georgia and hedge if I wanted to. I didn't hedge against Michigan, and I'm not going to hedge here because I really do believe Georgia has been the best team in college football all season, and I still think they're the best team in this matchup. Rather than sit here and break this game down, I'm going to talk about the reason that I think Georgia right now is the right bet, because I would have come back and hedged this if I really felt like that Alabama was the right side. But like last week, I'm just going to ride it because I really thoroughly believe Georgia is the best team in college football this year. They have been the best team all year. And I do feel that the Alabama game in the SEC championship, that spot was kind of a letdown spot for Georgia. They didn't need that game the way Alabama did. And I do think there's something to be said, even in a championship game, that there could potentially have been a letdown for Georgia that there won't be here. So just how this game is being booked in big games like the Super Bowl, NFL playoffs, like especially when you get to some of the the championship AFC NFC championship games, and then always in the college football playoff. I think the way you handicap it is to look for an overreaction or look and see if the game is being booked a certain way. And in this case, I really believe the odds makers are booking this game to attract as much Alabama money as possible from the betting public. They put a 2.5 up there. Everyone bet Alabama. 65% of the tickets on Alabama against the spread. Over 70% of the tickets on Alabama on the money line. And what did the odds makers do? They moved it to 3. So now that really, in theory, should attract more Alabama money. It tells me that the books are taking a position on Georgia here, and that's the side that I wanted, that I've been on all season. So for me, a no-brainer. I have no intention to hedge my futures bet. And so the nice thing about having Georgia at 8-1, I don't have to bet this game again because I'm plenty invested in my futures bet. But if I was going to come in and just make a straight bet on this game, I'd probably money line Georgia. But if it's starting to get out of range to do that, I'm absolutely fine laying the 2.5. I think Georgia is going to win convincingly in this game.
So I've watched Georgia a fair bit this season as well. And something happened in the game against Michigan that I haven't seen all year from Georgia. And that's Stetson Bennett made a bunch of big throws. And his receivers made a bunch of big catches. And I'm going to call it the best game I've seen him play. And it really not even close. The first game against Alabama, Bennett made a bunch of mistakes. Do we trust him in the rematch? Because, look, the former walk-on versus a potential Heisman winner, and the Heisman winner or the Heisman candidate is the one who's catching points. Does Georgia have the edge at the QB position in this game?
Well, Teddy, you make a good point. Bringing up just to go back to the first game, that game to me feels like such an anomaly on so many levels. You could talk about Georgia, maybe they didn't show up or whatever, but I certainly don't think we're going to see a shootout the way we did in that first game. This game very well could come down to a mistake by a quarterback. But if we're getting the game I think we're going to get here, which is a tighter game that's played closer to the vest, I think there might be an angle to make a good argument for the under in there as well. I prefer Georgia. I think their defense is just a little bit better. And you know what? I'm willing to trust Stetson Bennett. I think he turned a corner, played incredible against Michigan, and I guess I'm willing to go to battle with him. Listen, Alabama, their defense is still very solid. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw an interception or made a mistake. but I don't think that's going to be the difference in the game for Georgia. I think Georgia has edges at other positions. That's gonna give them an edge here. And you know what? Big revenge spot for Georgia. Not only do they have an in-season revenge angle after losing the SEC championship, they lost to Alabama in this game a couple years ago in a game that they led, and Alabama kind of stole from them. So I just think, I mean, man, if Georgia doesn't get it done here, like they might not. It's just going to be a long. Yeah, I know. Like it's to me, like this just has to be a Georgia win. I know that's not like that's not like a handicapping breakdown, but man, this is just the spot to me. You know, Alabama. Let's go back to the Auburn game for a second. They needed to
real quick, Adam.
Yeah,
because I got to ask you a question here, and we are short on time. We still have to have Andy Lang and Prez's 2-minute nonsense at the end of the show.
15-5 run. I'm on a 15-5 run in those nonsenses. And
you talked about
your question.
You talked about Georgia is in revenge, and that's a motivator. These two teams are playing for a national title. Do you really think that Georgia has a motivational edge, or is that just something that actually came out of your mouth?
No, I don't know that they have a motivational edge per se, but I do feel like there's something to in-season revenge and revenge that occurs in like a huge game like this. You can kind of go back to Alabama Clemson a couple of years back with them sort of trading wins in a national title game. So I mean, you can't say that Alabama's not going to be fully motivated, but I think a motivated Georgia team is too much for Alabama. I guess let me rephrase it and put it like that.
If Marco D'Angelo and Rob Veno got together and had a son, he would be Adam Trigger because, man, those three don't shut up. Add the Bills and the Jets, minus 16.5 for Buffalo. I ask you to handicap this game in under 45 minutes, please.
I think you mean under 45 seconds, because 45 minutes, I'd be good there. But listen, it's week 18. You got to throw some of the rules out. You never will see me come on this show and lay 17 points, 16.5 points in an NFL game, unless it's a scenario like this. Jets come off nearly beating the Bucs. I really think they put everything into that game, and it was a shorthanded Bucs team, and they still lost. And now they have to go on the road for the final game of the year against the Bills. Jets have one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and I do think there's some incentive for the Bills to play well here going into the playoffs. Obviously, they want to win the game to wrap up the division. Just a absolutely huge mismatch for me here. 45-17 in the first meeting. The Bills just completely torched the Jets, and that was when the Jets were kind of playing okay. You know, that game came off of a win over the Bengals, followed by a half-decent performance against the Colts on Thursday Night Football, and the Jets still got absolutely blasted in that game. This kind of feels like Patriots-Jaguars last week, where I think you could just lay any number. I think it's going to get completely out of hand. So, yeah, 16.5, 17, lay any number here. I honestly think the Bills put a 30-point, but maybe 25, 30 points.
30-3, baby. 30-3. Adam Trigger, everyone. Ad, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, I mean, just by come over to my page. I gave out my national championship game for free. That's up on my page for free. 4% play on Georgia. I will have a bunch of college hoop. I'm on a really nice run in college basketball right now. I might add something for later. I will have a bunch this weekend. Great time to take advantage of like a 3-day pass. But yeah, there will be stuff up on my page all weekend.
Adam Trigger, everyone. And Teddy, I want to talk to you quickly before we bring Andy Lang in. I know we're running late. It's important. We'll get him in. And Andy's a pro, man. You give Andy a minute, he gets the job done. You give him 3, he gets it done better. Anyway, I mentioned that I had 57% across the board in the NFL on the NFL presidential address. And some of the guys in the chat room were like, 57%, that's terrible. We got this one guy, Rifio or whatever his name is. He can hit 57% with his eyes closed. Yes, he doesn't even need his eyes open to hit 57%. So, Teddy, We spoke about this in great detail, and I want to run everyone through this real quick. Rufio, you must be the richest man in the world. If you start betting with $2,000 and you make 1,000 bets in a year, and every Monday, stop it, Teddy.
You're not going to
Can
make
you
1,000
just
bets in the NFL every year. You'll make 100 bets, maybe.
I'm talking about all sports. Can you just remove Teddy from the screen, please? Thank you. So, if you start with $2,000 and you make 1,000 bets at minus 110, and you bet only 4% of your bankroll, so you start with an $88 bet to win 80, and every Monday you adjust your bankroll, same 4%. Sometimes it'll be higher, sometimes it'll be lower. Every Monday you adjust your bet, but you keep it at 4% of your bankroll. You hit 55%. At the end of your one, you're at $17,000. $2,000 you started in your bankroll. At the end of your five, you're at $95 million. $95 million, hitting 55%, 1,000 bets. Oh, you're minus 110. This dude can hit 57% with his eyes closed. That, my friend, works out to be well into the billions and billions of dollars in year 5. So shout out to you and your eyes closed, but nobody hits those numbers. And on top of that, you won't even find a place to make those bets. So 57%.
Incorrect.
Okay, incorrect. Tell me, Teddy. Tell me why.
Because I've hit 56% in the NFL, counting every play since 2015. So some people can hit those numbers or close to them.
Yes. Okay, great, Teddy. Great. 57%, 1,000 bets a year. You already pointed out that you can't make 1,000 bets a year, so you negated your own argument. Either way, the point I'm making is
you said that no one can hit 57%.
Eddie Lang. Teddy, why do you interrupt me? Are the people in the chat room bitching you out for interrupting me? No, they only bitch me out for interrupting you. Andy Lang, come on in here, brother. 57%, dude. You bet that $2,000 bankroll, $95 million at the end of 5 years. Can you do it?
Well, actually, I'm looking at my streaks right now. So starting on November 18th in the NBA, 56.9%. So call it 57%. That is plus 76.2 units.
Yeah, baby.
So just since November 18th, if you hit 57%, that's the kind of damage you can do between this 55 and 57.
And people are saying, and Andy, we'll get to your segment. I already told Dan we're running later today. People are saying those numbers are crazy. They don't make sense. Those numbers are an actual fact. I have literally modeled those numbers on an Excel sheet. It's not that hard to figure out. You start with 2,000. You bet 4% of 2,000 for the first week. Then whatever you're left after the first week, you bet 4% again, and so on and so forth. Anyway, those numbers are a fact. The fact that you can't bet that much.
And it's also going to miss the fact that your 55% is not going to come 55% every week. You're going to have.
I took that into account. I took that into account in my modeling. The only problem with those numbers, Teddy, is by year 4, you can't actually get bets down. That's the only problem. So anyway.
I understand that you have a methodology that you tried to use in your modeling. I'm not convinced that methodology would be accurate in real life.
Yes, it wouldn't be accurate in real life because you won't be able to get the bets down. But the point I'm making is Mr. Eyes Closed 57% is literally talking out of his ass. Andy Lang, I hand the mic to you.
Wait a minute. Someone in the chat room's talking out of their ass? Oh my God. I can't believe it. Andy Lang,
but it gave us an opportunity. But Teddy, I'm going to use those opportunities to explain to people. I mean, that was a good segment from my perspective. I don't care about your perspective. Andy, I hand the mic to you, man. I can't.
Anytime you're talking, it's a good segment from your perspective.
I feel like whenever I come on there, I only get like 30% of my own segment. So we'll just get.
Dude, Andy, you don't need more.
Hijack it, baby. Hijack it.
God.
Just so many motivating factors, and we got a great look at Prez's screen that was available for everybody to see there. That was a good look. All right, let's get into some bets. Let's go with Cooper Kupp over 117.5 yards receiving. This is based on he needs 136 yards to get the single season receiving record, and this is a game that they are playing to win. So I would expect Sean McVay to really want to help Cooper Kupp get there. The San Francisco secondary, very, very banged up. As of now, they have 6 players in their secondary listed as out, 4 more as questionable. We watched A.J. Brown go for 11 catches, 145 yards against them. This is a big, big number, but we've got 2 big motivating factors. They really want to win this game, and they've got a single-season record to go after. So it's a big number, but he's actually gone over this total in 7 games this season. So this is not out of the realm of possibility. So I'd roll the dice with Cooper Kupp over 117.5 yards receiving. I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor under 133.5 yards rushing and receiving. If we're looking at milestones, Taylor needs 266 yards rushing to get to 2,000 yards. I really doubt he gets there unless he goes completely ballistic in the first quarter. They're playing the Jags, who the Colts should beat pretty easily. My guess is if they get up, which they should, I don't see them putting a whole lot of usage on Jonathan Taylor. Could see a lot of Nyheim Hines, especially in the second half. And we're getting a gift here. The books have Jonathan Taylor's rushing total at 114.5, but they have his rushing and receiving at 133.5. In the last 4 games, Jonathan Taylor has 1 catch for 6 yards. He is not catching the ball out of the backfield. So we're getting a gift here at an inflated total. If you look at his rushing and receiving yards, it's just a gut play that they're not going to use him a whole lot. And finally, the poor Giants. We're going to play the Giants under 14.5 as their team total. Last week, we played him under 15.5. Now the books have lowered it. They busted through that key number, Teddy, of 15. So instead of 15.5, now we get him at 14.5. They've gone under this total in 6 out of 7 games. Mike Glennon had 24 yards passing. That's 3 games in a row under 100 yards passing. Washington held Philly to 16 points last week. They're way better than the Giants. Just keep fading the Giants. And I believe we helped somebody with their survivor poll last year. They were asking about the Saints or the Bears last week. And I believe I was on one side, you guys were on the other, and we both hit. So hopefully that guy was able to make it through next week. But fading the Giants has been profitable. That's probably my favorite bet for this weekend.
So I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of playing the Giants team total under. And the Jonathan Taylor under rushing receiving yards, I love your little catch there where you're getting a little bit of extra value with Taylor who's not catching the football out of the backfield. But we got to talk about Cooper Kupp because he came on last week and gave us Cooper Kupp over, and it didn't get there. And now this week the total is even higher for Cooper Kupp. But I understand he's targeted a ton. They're going to look for him. But this number's really high on Cooper Kupp. Are you comfortable, confident, even though he stayed
that was the exact – that was the exact same question Teddy asked last week, worded the same. Did you pull out the notes from last week?
He was right though. He was correct. This is the last week of the NFL season, and a very profitable theory has been to look at some of these season records, these totals and milestones and contract incentives. And Cooper Kupp is one of them. It's within reach for him in this Rams team. Just it seems like McVay. This is something McVay would want to go for one of his players. This isn't like a Belichick who really doesn't care that much. So yeah, Teddy, I'll roll the dice again. I think he gets there. Just a couple of other ones. Keep a look on Mike Evans. He's 54 yards shy of 1,000 yards. He's gotten over 1,000 yards in every season of his career. Gronk needs 7 catches and 85 yards to get some contract bonuses. So it's playing into that theory of the last week of the season. our players motivated and our coaches motivated to get their players to some of the milestones. By far, my favorite play this week of the three I mentioned is the Giants under. But I think Cup gets there. It's a roll the dice, but it's certainly not a big play. This is not a play that will help get you to that coveted 55% with your eyes closed.
There you go. And it would have been a better segment, I think, if you had done it with your eyes closed, Andy Lang. Andy, we can't thank you enough, dude. What do you got to promote?
Well, NBA has been the best sport for me. It continues to be, like I said, since November 18th, we're up 75 units. The run has been incredible. We're on a 14-4 play of the day run. So if you're looking for what I'm running hot in, it's NBA. Short-term and long-term NBA has been by far my best sport. Waiting on a couple of lineups things. That's what we have to do in the NBA now. We have to wait till later in the afternoon to see who's playing and who's not. But we already have our play of the day, and Prop Pack will be up later this afternoon, and I'll be on NBA Tip-Off to talk about that more.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, Andy. And yeah, dude, we leave you to the last because you're the only one that can do it in such a short period of time. Says every woman on the planet. Let's go. Daily presidential address. All right, everybody. What a show today. If you are watching this on Twitter, check it out. WagerTalk Today. You can find it at our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. Oh, man. Rob Veno came on. He took apart the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game. We had Adam Trigger. He took apart the national championship game on Monday. Teddy looked at the Kansas City-Denver game. Andy Lang with a bunch of prop bets. Really great actionable info. So make sure to check out the show. Guys, I'm on a 15-5. Sorry about that. A 15-5 run on these free picks. I do want to say that the NFL Presidential Address is up for all of you guys to watch. It's the last one of the year. And there's an incredible promotion at the beginning of the NFL Presidential Address for you guys. I want to point out that I am on a 21-6 NFL totals run, and I have an NFL total up for Sunday. It's up now. Here are your three free bets for this Sunday. The Miami Dolphins +6 or 6.5, depending on if you can find 6.5s. There are a few out there right now. I like Kansas City first half at -6.5, and I like the Rams over the total of 44. It's been an honor, a pleasure, a privilege. Teddy, shawarma from me today at my favorite place, Pita Golden Pocket. Their name is grammatically incorrect, but their shawarma is amazing. My brother, take us home.
That's going to wrap it for the week here at Wager Talk Today. We'll be back again on Monday. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. for us here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck this weekend.
Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can now build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Sunday, January 16th at midnight, you can save 15% off your Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT15 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, John Ryan, Joseph D'Amico, and Rocket Man. The combinations are endless, and you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make your dream lineup? Just go to WagerTalk or SportsMemo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand-select your handicapping roster. Don't forget, coupon code PYT15 will expire January 16th, so make sure to get your 15% discount.